Entering new records into a database can get pretty tedious. This is especially true when you have to type the same thing over and over, such as today's date. Fortunately, Access allows us to set a default value for some fields, which makes it easier to enter records quickly. This is a table we've created to keep track of our employees. We have fields for their first and last names, addresses, and hire dates. Since this is a local company, most of them will probably have the same city, state, and zip code. Let's set default values for these fields so we don't have to type the same information for every record. First, switch over to Design View. Next, select the field where we want the default value to go. We'll start with the city field. In the Field Properties section at the bottom of the screen, find the row for Default Value and type the value we want to appear by default. Now, if we switch back to the datasheet view, we can see that any new records we create will already have this value filled in. We can still change this value for employees who don't live in Mapleton, but since most employees do live there, having this default value will save us time. We can assign default values for the state and zip codes the same way. We also want a default value for our date. We usually enter employee information the day they get hired, so it would be great if today's date were entered by default. However, if we enter today's date as the default value, we'll have to change it when we enter an employee's information next week. Fortunately, there's an easy formula we can use that will always show the correct date. Type an equal sign, the word date, then opening and closing parentheses. Now, if we switch to Datasheet view, today's date shows up by default. It's important to note that setting the default value only affects new records. Information that has already been stored in the table won't be affected if you change the default value. Now we know how to set default text values for fields in our tables. We also know how to make the default value for a date field return the current date. Default values are a great way to save time and reduce data entry errors.